Happy International Women in Engineering Day. Today is a special episode, so I dressed up. And we have my really good friend tonight starting the show. We wanted to start with Lisa because we wanted to make this very international. And she is joining all the way from Australia. She has started this video blog called STEM at Home to help kids during this pandemic. I will let her talk about it more. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Lisa. Let me go ahead. By the way, hi Lisa, how are you?
Hey, how you going?
Good. I didn't know if you wanted to join from your STEM at Home account.
That's okay. I'm having some issues with my Instagram. So
It's okay.
It's fine. But
It's
yes,
okay.
definitely. If you're watching, follow the STEM at Home account. The handle is at STEM@home_.
Perfect. Yeah. So Luisa, I told everybody a little bit about you, but before I start, I do want to point out that Engineering Guy has let us use his platform very gracefully for today and every Wednesday. And today is a special day because it is International Women in Engineering Day. And I expect that you will tell me more about it because you're all about it. And I also wanted to talk about the fact that we have badges now. So if you want to buy Eduardo some coffee, or aka Engineering Means Guys, or anything that you can do to support him as he does this, for free and doesn't spam you with ads, go ahead and show him some love. So so now let's go ahead. Lisa, how are you today?
I'm really good. Happy International Women in Engineering Day in America. So in Australia, we actually celebrated it yesterday. So I feel very grateful to be able to celebrate it twice.
Nice.
How are you going, Sandra?
I'm good. Just been working all day, and I really just wanted to dedicate, today more for this special day. I didn't know growing up that there were so many biases, in the STEM world about being a woman in engineering. I didn't know until I joined a STEM career, and that's when I noticed. So I know that you did a whole video about today's day. You even had the CEO of Engineer Australia. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel called STEM at Home. And as you sort of said earlier, I started it during the pandemic to keep kids entertained at home. So we were in pretty strict lockdown conditions, as a lot of the world was. And so there was 5 fun activities that could easily be recreated at home. And then I sort of thought, I want to make this bigger than just STEM activities. So I created a sort of spin-off series called STEM at Home, What Do You Do? And essentially it's a series of interviews with current students and working professionals in STEM from all around the world. And so last year for International Women in Engineering Day, I launched the STEM at Home, What Do You Do series. And in doing that, I asked a bunch of incredible women from around the world to answer a series of questions, and then I put them all together in a video. I thought that video was so powerful, and thinking about myself when I was in high school, if I had seen a video like that, I think I would have known so much more about engineering. I only really knew about engineering because my sister was studying engineering. It wasn't something that was ever really spoken about with me. I went to an all-girls high school, and so it wasn't really something that was promoted. In year 12, there was only 2 of us in physics. So year 12 in Australia is our last year of high school before we go to university. So there's only 2 girls in my physics class and only 3 girls in my specialist maths class. And they were the classes that you needed to do to get into engineering. So, there was a real gap sort of there in the knowledge of, what an engineer actually does, and also female engineers. So this year I decided to make a second edition of STEM at Home, What Do You Do? Celebrating women in engineering. And actually you featured in the video, which was amazing. And also had India in the video, who's going to be joining us a little later on. And I asked all the incredible women to share with everyone, what inspired them to become an engineer, and also who their engineering heroes are, which is the theme of International Women in Engineering Day 2021.
I love it. Yes, I was in that video, and I'm just so honored that you even asked me. I always try to hide my personal life from my professional life because I didn't think I fit in. So, but now I feel like so much more comfortable in my skin. So So before we start, I wanted to bring our sponsors and representatives. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Lillian, who is representing STEM at Home, and no, it's STEMedia. And feel free to go ahead and I'm going to ping your account too, because I know that you couldn't join from your account. So I sent it. Oh, Eduardo, hello.
Hello.
Hi,
Engineering memes guy in the house.
Engineering memes guys in the house. So let me bring Lillian too.
I'm here representing Lumis Automation. So people wondering, hit the drop down and give us a follow for some cool automation stuff. And thank you, Louisa, for being a part of this, and Sandra for making this happen. It's a special day. I'm learning about it a lot, and I'm glad that I'm connecting with people all over the world, like Louisa from Australia.
What time is it in Australia?
What time? Yeah, what time is it out there?
It is 11 a.m. on Thursday, the 24th.
Nice.
Oh,
okay.
It's Wednesday over here.
So
is Nikki gonna join us?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Lillian. Lillian, let me know if you have some like difficulties joining, but I requested you, so I'll start requesting you. Maybe you can request to join. About him, but actually, let me be a little braggy on his behalf. Eduardo has started this page 8 years ago, Engineering Means Guy. And just to give you a little bit of context, Luisa, Eduardo was a big supporter of Papaya Tutor, which is the only STEM platform that is dedicated for non-traditional students. So that is women and any person who's like first generation, Black, Latin, anybody who doesn't feel like they belong, Papaya is there for you. And that's why we're doing this Women in STEM Wednesday. And I talked to Eduardo about that. And like I was saying, I shoot my shot and I was like, why don't you let me use your platform to make sure that, to promote women and to show them in the best light, to promote the women that are in STEM. And he said, yeah, sure, let's go ahead. And that was amazing. So thank you, Eduardo. So he started his engineering memes page 8 years ago. And, I used to follow him when I was a sophomore in engineering school. And, it was just, his memes were like hilarious. So we're going to do a meme review later. And yeah, and now also on top of having a successful memes account, 400,000 followers, that can be easy. That's definitely hard work. He also has a automation company. So he builds robots and uses his platform, his engineering company to help other engineer students get internships. And we'll announce more about that partnership later. So wait, I'm trying to bring
Thank you, Sandra.
Lillian.
You're welcome. Sounds like she's having issues there. We'll see if we can get her in.
Okay. Can I just say as well, it's amazing to have men like Eduardo in this space because, it's all good and well for women. Hey!
Finally, it was giving me so much problems. Sorry. Hi, guys. Happy International Women in Engineering Day.
Louisa, you were saying.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to have. So obviously women need to support women in STEM and promote women in STEM, but we also need the men in STEM, who are the large majority, to promote us as well. And so to have someone like Eduardo, I know, he obviously promotes Papaya and he has sort of promoted this initiative and lets us use his platform with a ridiculous amount of followers to promote it. But with STEM at Home, when I first started it, Eduardo was sharing the videos and he was the reason I was getting so much reach. And, then I would get people in America send me videos of them making the activities. And I don't think that would have been possible without Eduardo and sharing the videos. So I just wanted to say, while it is International Women in Engineering Day, I think it is also important that we celebrate the men who support women in engineering And one of those is definitely Eduardo and the Engineering Memes Guy account.
Thank you so
He's gonna
much.
go cry. He's gonna go cry. Just
I'm trying to keep it together here, you know. I'm like, oh man, that's cool, and I don't know, it just feels amazing how it's putting so much effort. Like Joanne, Danny, thank you for buying badges and supporting, you know, this platform. This is only gonna get stronger with your help, and you know, everybody that comes in is making a difference already, and hope that people watching are actually learning too, because I know that I get videos of kids watching our lives, so you guys know, like, there's kids watching us. So
that's a lot of pressure.
I know, right? It's like, who would have thought? It's now episode 22, right? It's 22 weeks in a row, so it is time consuming, and everybody that's supporting it make it easy. So thank you all.
Yes. So do we? So we're actually interviewing. So Lisa here is going to be on the hot seat. But first of all, you know, Lillian, tell us a little bit about yourself and STEMedia, and also your channel, and you know, what is your why essentially?
Okay. So let me just start with my why. My why is because I want to share from my personal experience, because I didn't have like I like to say, a smooth engineering journey. And I think a lot of the times on social media, we've, you know, because everyone keeps sharing their highlight reels, I felt like, okay, yes, we do have like high moments in our journeys and stuff like that, but then there weren't a lot of people sharing, like, you know, the tough times they went through, and like just the reality of like life in general. And so that's really what motivates me, because I know I didn't have like, you know, a smooth journey. And so I just wanted to use that to, you know, kind of encourage people, honestly. And my background is in plastics engineering, and currently I'm an applications engineer in the biopharmaceutical industry. And I just love being a part of this community, because just being a representative for STEMedia and knowing like Engineering Memes Guy, I love what Louisa just said about like us needing the men, because I wouldn't be here if not for STEMedia, honestly, because like it was literally just a DM that I sent to him that really got me to this point. And so I also love what they do. Their purpose, their mission is to elevate and inspire minorities. And so they do that through mentorship. They do that through highlighting people on their Instagram page. They do that through YouTube videos. And so for me, I love being a part of that. So I just wanted to come on here and just, you know, really remind people that, you know, there's that platform, and you can always use that when you need it to. So, yeah.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
Lillian.
much, and thank you for STEMedia and all of the, you know, everything that you do on the side. It cannot be easy. Lisa and I were talking about that on the weekend. It's like it is a full-time job. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for everybody who's, you know, like putting their voices out there to, you know, to make like noise about STEM and minorities in STEM and women in STEM. I mean, this is amazing. So thank you again. So we're gonna start with the 5 questions for Luisa, aka STEM at Home. By the way, I'm putting your handles here, so let me just finish that. Hello. So
Are
STEM
you
at Home is
Sandra?
STEM at Home at yes, STEM at Home underscore, right? No,
Underscore, yeah.
underscore. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So, and then yes, tell me, Eduardo, you were saying.
Are you going to add the other 2 people now?
Yeah, but we're gonna start with Luisa first, and then Luisa and I are gonna start interviewing the rest. So,
Gotcha.
Lillian, you have the question. So I'll start. Luisa, tell us a little bit about yourself, because you already talked about STEM at Home, and what made you want to study engineering.
Okay, so I am a civil and architectural engineer, and I currently work as a project manager for major infrastructure projects in Melbourne, Australia, but I'm also managing currently 12 bridge upgrades in Adelaide, Australia. So I'm pretty busy, and sort of like you were saying before, I've got a full-time job, and then on the side I've got STEM at Home, which feels like another full-time job,
I
but
know.
I love it. So yeah, I graduated from the University of Adelaide in 2018, and I graduated with honours in civil and architectural engineering. And I was really lucky that at the time of graduating, I already had a job. So I was already working for a construction company, and I'd been working there for about a year at that point, and I was promptly on site, and I had the best site team, the best foreman, and I learnt so much from them. After that, I moved into design, so I started working for a company called Oricon, and there I was working sort of in their design team, and then I got a call one day saying, oh, we've won this project and we need someone with site experience. Would you be interested in helping out? And I sort of thought, yeah, like I've got a lot of site experience. I like being on site. Why not? So I said yes. And then I found out it was night shift. So I did about 2 years of night shift, which was fun because McDonald's is open 24 hours, but not fun for a number of other reasons. And you know, I had some interesting experiences on those sites because I was the only girl and we were working at night, and you would have people drive past and sort of yell stuff out their car to me. And so I made sure not to wear tight fitted clothing and sort of do all that sort of thing that I really hope in the future is not a thing and girls don't have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so after I did that project, I sort of moved into a government role where I became a project manager, and I became a really young project manager. So I was only 23 years old when I first became a project manager, and I'm 25 now, and I absolutely love it. I would say I love putting out fires, so using critical thinking to problem solve, and sort of get projects from concept design to completion. So I guess my reason why I wanted to become an engineer sort of stems back a really long time before I even knew what an engineer was. So my nonno, which is Italian for grandfather, while he had to leave school at quite a young age to help his family in Italy and then move over to Australia, he was really passionate about education and he loved reading. So he had, and he's now passed away unfortunately, but we still have them, every encyclopedia that has ever been released, my nonno owned. And when I was like, 4 years old, he would read them with me and my cousins, and then he would come up with fun games to sort of test us. So he built us a basketball ring, and then, if you got a question right, you could shoot a hoop, or sometimes he used to pay us because, money's a good incentive as a kid. And he really got me, I guess, interested in STEM because I really liked the science encyclopedias. And then, I had really good teachers in high school in maths and science. I had a teacher called Mr. Branson, who was my year 10 and 11 chemistry teacher. And he's probably the reason why I started STEM at home, because he taught me how to make a lava lamp. And that's the first episode of STEM at home. It's called Blue's Lava Lamps. So, and that's the one that sort of had the biggest hit. And I've got videos, like I was saying, Eduardo, from kids from America making these lava lamps because it's a really easy thing to make. And it's a good explanation about, water and oil and how they won't mix and sort of gas. And yeah, it's a really good introduction to chemistry for kids. And yeah, so then my sister as well, she's 2 years older than me and we're pretty close and she's always been a role model. She was studying engineering and all her friends were studying engineering. So I guess they're the ones that sort of made me realize, oh, this is a career that is for women as well. I had never even heard of it. Like thinking back, I think my nonno, while not actually being an engineer, was an engineer because he loved problem solving and he sort of had a motto, why buy it when you can make it? And he had this shed that was literally bigger than my current apartment in bmekween, where he used to make all sorts of things to solve all sorts of problems. And that's essentially what an engineer does. Yes. So, yeah.
Problem solving. Yes. That I used to, I love puzzles. So Lillian, I know you have the next question.
Yeah, so STEM at home has been a hit in Australia. I know you kind of touched on this a bit, but what would you say has been like your fondest memory of filming STEM at home?
I didn't like filming it, I'm not going to lie. I'm not that good on camera and it would take me a whole day to get a 5-minute episode. So, that was pretty annoying, but I knew that it was for a greater good. I think the best thing about it has been reaction and the reaction from kids. So I have had my LinkedIn just blew up from STEM at home to the point where, my posts now get like 50,000 views and it's ridiculous because I don't have 50,000 connections on LinkedIn. I think I have 3,000. So it sort of blew up because of STEM at home and because there were so many kids around the world recreating the episodes and then sending me videos of recreating them. it just warms your heart as well. You know, I did a lot of work while I was in uni with Engineers Without Borders Australia and also with Google, and they sort of sent me around to different schools in Australia, and I would speak to kids, and you know, a lot of the time I would say, do you know an engineer? And they would say no, like we don't even know what an engineer is. And really the only ones who knew what an engineer was were ones that were related to an engineer. So, you know, you can't be what you can't see. And I think, you know, if I think about me, my sister was an engineer. She was studying engineering, and that's sort of why it came into my mind. What about the kids that don't have a sister who's an engineer or a parent who's an engineer? Something that I found really interesting when I was making the special edition for International Women in Engineering Day this year was that a lot of the women in the video said they were inspired to sort of become an engineer by an engineer. So I think that's the key factor, that, you know, I'm on screen and I'm sort of talking about these activities, but at the same time I'm talking about engineering, and I'm sharing now through the STEM at Home What Do You Do series all these different engineers from around the world who have the coolest jobs ever, and it just blows your mind. And not just in engineering, just in STEM in general. So the most recent episode was Maynard, who is the hip hop scientist, and he is the coolest guy I have ever met. So his handle is, Eduardo, you're up there as well. But he is so cool. I actually think you would be very good friends. His handle is at Hip Hop Science Show, I believe.
Oh, and yeah, I just added him.
I actually just followed that account today. That's so weird.
Yeah, he is the coolest guy. He was also on Shark Tank. So he does so many different things. He's a qualified civil engineer, civil and environmental potentially. And he also is a science communicator. So he has the Hip Hop Science Show. And just being able to show him to kids, I feel like if I was 5 years old and I saw Maynard on screen, I would be like, I want to be Maynard. And I would just be set. Like, I'm doing STEM. That's it. Nothing else. Don't care about anything else. I want to be Maynard.
Same here.
Yeah, I guess that's what I've loved the most. And I'm so excited. I've got about 60 other people who have filmed for me for the STEM at Home What Do You Do series. I'm going to slowly start releasing them. I'm going to have Lillian on as well, Eduardo, Sandra, everyone, the girls on this live today as well. So yeah, I'm excited to show the world the real faces of STEM.
Awesome.
That's great.
So what is your favorite part of being an engineer?
So, I mean, probably my scripted answer is that I really like critical thinking to solve problems. So I think the best thing about studying engineering was that I learned how to think critically and how to solve problems. And I definitely use that on a daily basis at work. It's the reason why I guess every time a hurdle or a problem comes my way, I'm able to sort of think about it and think, okay, how are we going to overcome this, and what's the quickest way to overcome it, and sort of progress the project, which is really important in project managing because, you know, it's usually about time and budget. They're the two sort of key things. And if your project starts to slow down, well, that costs money. So that's a really big issue and you want to avoid that. But I think the other thing that I've realized lately is I love being an engineer because it's introduced me to so many amazing engineers. So like I wouldn't have met all of you if I never chose engineering. I think while women in STEM, you know, we're a minority in STEM, the ones that I've met are incredible and are so powerful that they sort of, you know, make up for that lacking in percentage, and sort of, we currently don't have that 50-50 gender split, but the ones that we do have are loud and they're using their voices. And that's one of my favorite things about being an engineer, just getting to meet all of them.
Lillian dropped, so what's the worst part about being an engineer?
So just on that note of the fact that it's not a 50-50 gender split, I would say that in some organisations there is definitely a boys club mentality still.
Yeah.
And that's something I really want to change. So I think, you know, with STEM at Home, I'm encouraging more kids to pursue a career in STEM. And I think that will help fix that gender gap. And I think by fixing the gender gap, you also fix some of the other issues. So if I sort of touch back on when I'd worked on site previously and I'd had inappropriate comments made towards me, you know, I was the only girl on those sites. And while there were men there who could have stood up to defend me, they actually weren't as good as Eduardo, and they didn't. So it would have been really nice to have other women there who could have defended me. So I think that's the worst part. Like, while I'm happy to defend myself, sometimes, you know, when you're in a meeting and you're the only girl and there's 12 other guys on the table and they're sort of screaming at you and saying, you know, what do you know? How old are you? And comments like that, it would be really nice to have other women in the room to say, well, she actually knows what she's talking about, let her speak. So I think that's the worst part. Yeah, even men. Men. To have men in the room, that's why it's so important to have people like Eduardo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I started practicing that actually. When there are like women, like I make sure that everybody speaks. Everybody, right? Even the quiet guy, the quiet girl, like I make sure that everybody gets a chance to say something and, pay attention to them, not just ignore them. So
yeah, this is
definitely, I've learned that a lot. I learned that especially now, like I definitely, doing this with you ladies has taught me so much more, and I do practice it now. So I appreciate that. I know that we have more guests, right, Sandra? And
yeah, so we're doing a meme review, but I guess we'll just do it with the next guest unless you want to stay for that.
No, I just wanted to ask one last question to Louisa before I head out, and that's like, what's your favorite meme that you've seen so far on my page?
Perfect.
Sorry,
wait, she sent it to us, so let me show it to you.
I don't know if this one was on your page or if I found it myself. So I love the ones on your page that are sort of about like taking a joke at what it's like to study engineering, because I don't want to come on here and say that studying engineering is easy, because I don't think it is. Like, I think it is definitely hard, but it's worth it. The one that Sandra's showing on the screen, I think that came up on a Facebook page. I just find it so relevant because as a project manager, I get so many emails every day. And I remember one time I was taking a flight between Melbourne and Adelaide, which is an hour flight. And so obviously my phone was turned off. I got off the plane and I had received 27 emails in that hour flight. And all I thought was, let the potato rest for 5 minutes, please. But yeah, no, you have so many incredible memes. And I also think because engineering is hard, the memes sort of keep you going. Like, the ones that are sort of like, I miss going to uni just to sort of open my laptop, talk to my friends and discuss what we're going to eat. Like, stuff like that. It really keeps you going while you're studying engineering, which is, quite hardcore at times.
That's why I do it, and everybody that sends me messages, thank you for keeping me going. And I'm just, those kind of comments are the stuff that energizes me to keep it going. So everybody motivates me, really. So Sandra, so now I just want to say thank you, Luisa. I know that we got more people coming in, and I want to thank you, Sandra, too, and everybody that's pitching in for badges. Thank you all for supporting the platform, and I'll be seeing you guys later. So I'll let the ladies take over from here.
Thank you, Eduardo.
See ya.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. So, Luisa, while the ladies are joining, what was your hardest class in school, and what kind of help do you think you wish you had?
So I don't want to come on here again and sort of, like Lillian was saying, just speak about highlights. I think I definitely did struggle with some of the subjects in engineering. One that I distinctly remember struggling with was called thermodynamics and fluid mechanics, which is actually a mechanical engineering subject, and I was in the civil and architectural engineering degree, but it somehow ended up in my sort of degree structure as a compulsory subject. And I think, I achieved a 50 pass, so I literally just passed. 50 in Australian university is a pass. And, while I was in high school, actually, while I was in university, I was tutoring primary school and high school students. And thinking about it in retrospect, I never even thought about getting tutoring for myself in university. I wasn't even aware of a platform like Papaya that was in Australia that was sort of offering that to university students. So the fact that Papaya, I guess, is the only sort of STEM dedicated tutoring service for university students and also high school students is amazing. And it's an amazing resource for people who are on the live today listening, or anyone who watches this later, to sort of consider and take a look at the website. I was saying to Sandra on Sunday, I am obsessed with your website. I think it is so good.
Thank you.
And obviously now we've got the Women in STEM Wednesdays blog up as well. So yeah, that's a really exciting addition to the website.
Thank you. Okay, so last question for you before we introduce these amazing ladies. On this special date, what do you want to accomplish for this IG Live? And remember, it's still International Women in Engineering Day in US.
Oh, don't worry, I'm still celebrating. I think, you know, exactly what we're doing right now, creating space for women in STEM to tell their stories. So I'm so excited to hear from Enthusiast and Nikki and learn a little bit more about them. Because I think by sharing their stories, you actually inspire other women, no matter their age, to consider pursuing a career in STEM. And, you know, particularly in engineering, because it is International Women in Engineering Day in America.
Awesome, awesome. So do you want to introduce our next guest, or
Yeah,
she's already here, so
definitely. So you'll see in the bottom of the live, we have two amazing women now. So we have Enthusiast and we have Nikki. So I might hand over to Enthusiast first, just to sort of introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her why.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Enthusiast, but on the internet, I'm known as BMEkween. So I'm a biomedical engineer. I'm actually a PhD candidate right now, proposing in a couple weeks. But I started BMEkween over the pandemic, and I really started it to meet other Black scientists, because I just didn't know anyone like in my field, or just anyone that looks like me in science. So I started the page, and I originally thought that I'm just going to meet some people and, you know, talk about science for a little bit and, you know, whatever. But then it became kind of like a source, like an outlet for me, like a very creative outlet. But I also started to talk about like different tips and advice that I would give for other people that either wanted to go to graduate school or were like maybe interested in it but not quite sure. So I started the Instagram page last May, and then I started my blog a month later because I got so many questions, and I was like, I'm just going to write this on the laptop. So the blog pretty much came like an in-depth version of what I was posting on Instagram. And now I kind of like have pivoted a little bit to kind of talk about my life as an engineer, as just like a scientist in general, as a graduate student, but also like as a woman, because just being a woman in this world, you know, regardless of my career, like it's a different type of beast. So I kind of like to touch on different lifestyle things that I'm either going through, because I feel like it makes it a little bit more personable, and I also get to connect with my audience as well. So that's just a little bit of what I do, and I'm loving it so far. I mean, I've made some great connections that I definitely would have never anticipated, so it's been awesome.
So glad to hear that. I think we've just lost Nikki, so might get into the sort of next question. Sandra, I'll hand over to you.
So you're a biomedical engineer. What exactly does that mean for everybody here who's not a biomedical engineer?
Yeah, so biomedical engineers are also engineers, but they pretty much make either tools or resources or applications that are in the medicine field, that are either used by medical professionals, so physicians or anyone that pretty much works in a hospital, or other scientists. So we pretty much kind of encompass a lot of the different engineering disciplines. So I've had classes that were chemi based, I've had mechanical engineering classes, as well as electrical engineering, because all of those are all incorporated in the body. So it kind of covers a lot of different fields, and we also have a lot of like mechanical, chemical, electrical engineers that will become biomedical engineers based on the type of research projects that they work on.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Why did you choose biomedical engineering?
I actually didn't choose it. It kind of chose me. So I guess this kind of goes into my backstory a little bit. So I actually wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to have my own makeup brand because I love makeup so much. But my parents knew that I was really good at math and science. I wasn't really like interested in it. I was just kind of like good at it on the side. But it was my dad actually who told me that chemical engineers formulate makeup. And I was like, well, sign me up. Like, I'll do that. Or like, I would love to make some lashes. Like, I'll do it. So I actually applied for chemical engineering, and I didn't get in. But I reapplied as an undecided major, and I got in. And then I was a field hockey collegiate athlete while I was in college as well. So I played for a year. I took all the same like general classes that all the engineers took. So it was like Chem 101, calculus, all that stuff. And then after a full year, I reapplied again to get into the chemical engineering program, and I didn't get in again. But this time they said, well, you know, we have space left in the biomedical engineering department. Like, do you want to try it out? Like, what do you think about it? And I was like, well, it has engineering in the title, so I'll just try it out and see, you know, what it's about. And actually, when I joined, I really did not like it. I'll be very honest. I didn't really see how it connected like different applications in the body. It was just, to me at that point, it was chemical reactions on paper, and I didn't really see how it applied. But it wasn't until my junior year that I really started to see its applications and all the different routes that you go on with BME. So I decided to stick it through, of course, my junior year, and ended up graduating with the BME degree.
That is
That's
amazing.
amazing.
I was exactly the same when I first started engineering, like in the first year when it was sort of hardcore maths. And I was like, what is this? What did I sign up for? This is not me. And there's nothing wrong with maths. Like, I think, people who study maths are amazing. But to me, I got into it because I wanted to sort of get into design. And I also really liked drawing, which is why I picked sort of civil and architectural engineering. And so when it was just all maths for the first year, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But then in second
Right.
yeah, and then in like second and third year, when it sort of started to get a bit more specific to civil and architectural engineering, I was like, hang on, I like this. I want to keep going. And sort of like you, I persevered, and it was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah. I remember like being in calc and I'm like, who cares about Taylor series? Like, this is so stupid. But now I like know how to apply it. So I'm like, oh yeah, you just use a Taylor series. Like,
Yeah.
no, that's cool. Or now the computer does it for me, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, it's good to know first principles as well. So Nikki is back in the live as well. Hey, Nikki.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Do you want to introduce yourself, I guess, and your why and sort of what type of engineer you are and what you currently do?
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Nikki. I'm a product manager within the authentication space at a startup. So I started my undergraduate as a electrical engineer and I graduated with that degree. However, I always found myself to be someone who was really good at negotiating, an excellent communicator, and someone who liked to work cross-functionally across different verticals and different departments. So naturally, product management was a great fit for me. And that's just my main job. That's what I do from 9 to 5. Sometimes it can be like 7 to 7 sometimes, depending on my workload. But I really enjoy what I do outside of work, which is creating content around cryptocurrency. So showing people the value of Bitcoin, Ethereum, other crypto coins, and showing projections on where it could end up being in the future, as well as showing like the adoption within the tech community and just like institutional investors, something I'm very passionate about. I love seeing more women in this space. I think the thing that's so exciting is like when I first started blogging about Bitcoin, a lot of people were very confused by it, but now all the folks that were confused are actually excited and actually bought Bitcoin. So it's great to see how the tables have turned, and I'm really excited for the future prospects of it. And I blog a lot about it on my blog actually. So if you're interested in seeing some educational content, go check out hellonikkib.com. It's my Instagram handle with just a .com at the end. And yeah, I've been very fortunate to be featured on various news channels such as Fox Business, Market Watch, New York Post, NPR, and I might be forgetting another one.
She's a big deal, essentially.
I've been in a lot of them, thankfully, and it all happened through my Instagram. Like I just started during the pandemic, like last March. I was blogging a lot about being a woman in tech and also talking about cryptocurrencies, and I've been very, very fortunate to have my platform evolve not only as a space to talk about my experience in product management, Bitcoin, but also I get to work with really fun brands. I work with one brand in particular that I'm really excited about is I work with Urban Skin RX, which is a skincare brand that is catered towards people of color, particularly brown and black women, where our skin types are not represented in kind of everyday beauty products and stuff you find in drugstores. So I've noticed considerable results by using their products. Like I tend to get like dark marks after like an acne scar, and I've been using their products for the past several months and a lot of them have disappeared. So it's great that I get to like do all these different things that I would not have been able to do in my 9 to 5.
Wait, so when NDea creates her makeup brand, you can promote it too.
Yes.
And just
That's the
FYI,
point.
for people who don't know about product management, product management is the most sought after job in tech. So usually you have to have an engineering background, usually computer science, and you also have to have an MBA. But positions are very cool because you are part of the ideation of a new app. Like let's say like Google is just about waste. So you would be the lead on like how that works. So you're in the middle of the user experience, finance, and also with the software engineer. So it's very cool actually. A very cool position to have, and for Nikki to be able to do that without having an MBA. Props to you. She also went to Purdue. She doesn't say that. She's pretty hard to get in. So yeah. So I know, Nikki, you have the next question for India.
Yeah.
And
So India, what is your current favorite meme?
Oh, so I sent it. It's so I've been talking about having a hot girl summer for the last several months now, and it's not really happening how I envisioned it because I'm in the lab every single day. So that's my favorite meme right now. It really represents my life.
What about you? What about you, ladies? What do you think about that meme?
I love it because, like we were sort of saying before, I'm always like, yeah, I'm going to do so much stuff on the weekend. And sort of like Nikki was saying, you know, I have a 9 to 5, which is more like a 7 till 7.
Yeah.
And then when I finish that, I go straight on to STEM stuff. And I don't take time for myself, which is not really a good thing. But I know, again, that it's for the greater good, sort of like India's saying, and what she's doing in the lab and all the work women in STEM are doing to sort of promote, you know, their careers and also the world, like fix the world and fix problems. And so, India, when you're in the lab, what are you actually doing in the lab? Like, are you working on biomedical engineering projects? And
Yeah, so I work in a wet lab, so there are some biomedical engineers that do like computer engineering and things like that. But I go to lab every day. Right now, my project is focused around delivering nanoparticles, so like little vehicles that carry drugs. And what we're trying to do is deliver them to pregnant mice. The application is to deliver the nanoparticles to treat bacterial vaginosis, which is a condition that occurs in non-pregnant and pregnant patients. But we're trying to treat it in pregnant patients. So right now I'm doing a lot of in vitro studies. So I do tons of cell culture as well as bacteria culture as well. And the cells kind of grow on their own time. I don't really get to choose when they're ready or when they're not. So that's when I'm in lab pretty much all the time.
that is really cool. It's a cool job though, like to know that you're
Yeah,
contributing to
I
that.
actually, so funny story, I was in, my like undergrad research was focused around mechanical engineering. So I did a lot of mechanical testing. I did 3D printing. I did all the like sexy science. And I didn't know a single thing about wet lab, but I came to graduate school and learned everything from scratch. And now I'm cell culture. So it's completely different than what I'm used to, but it's nice to have the different, to learn the different skills and techniques because they do come in handy.
Yeah, definitely.
So Nikki, I know you have the next question because you're taking Lillian's questions. So you want to ask that?
Yeah. Do you have any engineering heroes? And if so, what did they inspire you to become an engineer?
I do have, I guess I'll say I have a scientist hero. I didn't know any engineers before I became an engineer myself. But my science hero is Raven the Science Maven. She is the bomb. She has raps about science. She makes like different videos. Like she has her own clothing line and everything's like bright pink. Like I love everything about her platform. If you aren't already following her, Raven the Science Maven is the best. So I came across her page actually a couple years ago when I started graduate school, and I was like, who is this woman? Like she was twerking in the lab, and I was like, this is what I need. Like I love this. So she's amazing. I love her page. She's the one who keeps me going in graduate school.
That's amazing. I love it when like people are themselves because I don't know, like it makes me think that I can be myself too. It's okay. Like you don't have to be the perception of an engineer, which I know that Lisa is always fighting against that, like stereotypes and putting people in a box, and that you cannot be fun or have a personality if you're an engineer, especially if you're a woman, right? Like that's bullshit. So, whoops, sorry for anybody in Australia.
No, that's okay. I was thinking, I really hope I don't swear in this because I work in construction. Like, I'm just so used to swearing. Everyone swears all the time on site, so I'm like, don't swear, Louisa. Eduardo said there's kids watching.
That yeah, that's sometimes such. Okay. So so all right. So Nikki's in the hot seat now. So India, you can ask Lillian's questions. So since I've been just talking so much, Lisa, do you want to start?
Yeah.
Asking
So I guess you sort of mentioned briefly that you work with, you know, some big brands, sort of in your crypto space, and also you sort of said that it's so nice to see more women getting involved. So actually, in Australia, I listened to a podcast called She's on the Money, and sort of the basis behind it is to get women educated about finance, and also educated about investing, because typically more men invest than women, but interestingly, women tend to have better return, because of the type of investors that they are. So I guess, could you tell us a little bit more about sort of that space? Also, for anyone who doesn't know, what is cryptocurrency?
Yeah, so I'll level the playing field by starting off with like what crypto is. So crypto is a way to send money in a peer-to-peer fashion without an intermediary. So think about it like when I feel like a lot of people here use Venmo or PayPal or some method to send someone money. Now, suppose you were sending this money to someone who lives overseas. So I have a lot of family in India, and sometimes I need to wire transfer them money. However, if you know about international wire transfers, you know that it's a very complicated process. So when you're actually sending money to another bank that's international, you actually don't even know if that money is going to be received on the other end. And to add on to it, there are so many transactional fees that are tacked on. So by the time you're sending that money, it's actually not as much as you originally sent it out to be. And it also takes a long time as well. So there's all these downsides when you're sending money to somebody internationally, or just even in the domestic US. What Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies solve is it's all peer-to-peer, so you don't have to rely on a middleman to actually conduct the transaction. So it's more streamlined, it's faster, it's easier. All you need is their wallet number, and then you can just send the money directly. And then there's so many more value propositions to it, but that's just one of the high level ones that I'll highlight for this particular session. But I'd love to do another deep dive one of these days.
Yes, we have to. And India, I know you have the next question related to crypto, actually.
Yeah, can you guys hear me? I know you can't see me, but you can
Yeah.
hear me. Okay.
No, we can see you.
Oh, okay. I can't see me. All right. So
that happened to me before too, India. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
So you mentioned you've been featured on Fox, and you featured on all these other places. So what would you say is the most empowering part of what you do on your platform?
I would say the most empowering part is just being able to talk to other folks who have been traditionally gated off from the financial institution systems and show them that they can become investors. Like, I think everybody has the power to be an investor. Doesn't matter what city you grew up in, your skin color, you know, who your parents are, what car you drive or where you live. I think everyone with the right knowledge and the right resources can be an investor, not only in cryptocurrencies but also securities, which is like the stock market. And I think a lot of the times, like, if you don't come from the generational wealth, you don't know what it's like to make money while you sleep at night. And that's what can happen with cryptocurrencies and securities. Like, I literally don't do anything. All I do is sleep, check my stock app, and then, you know, when the gains are good, I can see like a rise in my portfolio, which is a great feeling because this could be used to pay for a house in the future, to kind of kickstart the later half of my life and like what I want to do. So you just get more freedom with stable financial life, because I see money as an instrument of change. Like, I think you should never be like greedy with it or anything, but you should also try to learn how to manage it, because this could help you kick launch your startup, kick launch your business, buy a home. There's so many avenues that you can use with money, and that's what a lot of folks who've been traditionally gated off don't realize, I think. And what I try to do on my platform is show them the opportunities you can do if you open up a brokerage platform, if you start investing, because that's how you accumulate wealth in America and other countries as well.
Yeah, and you're like buying the inflation, right? So
yes,
you might
you're beating
like
inflation.
there's inflation, so like if your money's not doing anything in a savings account, you might as well just ride inflation wave with the stock market, because you know. And I love crypto because I know we bonded over this.
Yes.
It is the currency of the people. This is no government, like no committee that's deciding on your behalf how much is the dollar really worth, right? Like dollar is not, it's paper now. It's like it's just being printed. So it is. Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely have to do another live because I love
Yes.
crypto. Okay, so who has the next question? We have. Oh, actually, I do. Oh no, Luisa does.
Me? Yeah, well, I guess we heard India speak a little bit about her engineering heroes. So, Nikki, do you have any engineering heroes? And if so, who are they?
Yeah, so my hero is actually like Elon Musk. I've admired him since I was a freshman in college. Like it was always a dream of mine to work at Tesla because I really cared about renewable energy. I saw that like I feel like the day to day, the way that we live our lives is just so unsustainable, especially the way not only just like us as people, like our water consumption and like our trash utilization, but also the way that companies aren't very vigilant about environmental policies. I feel like that's definitely like left on the back burner. People, corporations care more about profits and beating their earnings every call. Where I didn't see a lot of focus in the energy space, and I think Tesla is really tackling that on head first. And I saw that right from the bat. And then now seeing Elon enter the crypto space is just like, wow, this is like a full circle for me now. And also, fun fact, I drive a Tesla because I'm so obsessed with Elon. I knew I had to once I graduated college because I was like, this has been my dream for so long. But I see him as someone who he definitely has a general manager mentality where he understands engineering, marketing, product, sales, operation. To be able to do all of those things and wear all of those hats is incredible to me. And also to be running 3 companies at the same time, like he truly is like a visionary.
He's an alien.
I know.
He's just trying to get back home.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I love that. I love his saying about like he believes that ordinary people can do extraordinary things, and
Yes.
I think that I mean I love him too. Sometimes he pisses me off, but yeah, I love him too. So what was your did we do your meme? No.
Oh no, you didn't. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So while I'm pulling up your meme, what was your hardest class in college? Or
My hardest
school?
class. It was a class called digital signal processing. It has like something to do with like okay, basically like the way I understood it was like it's a way to put Instagram filters. Like you can make it black and white, you can make it blurry, but there was more to the class than that. That's just how I understood it because that was hard for me. But it's a lot of high level mathematics, and a lot of the theory that you learn from there can be applied towards machine learning. So yeah, that was just tough because ML is not easy to grasp.
That's amazing. I am not surprised at your meme, actually.
Yes. It's Elon with holding a Dogecoin. Yeah, I'm obsessed with Dogecoin too.
Did you buy? How much did you buy it at?
Oh, I bought it at 3/10 of a cent. So like I bought it last November as like a joke, and then I just kept buying more. Yeah.
You get lucky. She got Bitcoin at 19,000, I think, right?
No, lower than that. I bought it when I first bought it. It was like 2,000.
So all right, so Nikki's gonna pay for our trip next time. Okay, so Lisa, this is your playground. It's I mean, you've been doing an amazing job with like International Women in Engineering Day. You got the CEO of Engineering Australia. So, is there anything else you wanna ask this amazing lady?
Tough one. I feel like they're both so incredible. Yeah, I think just sort of touching on actually, I've got a good one. What would be your advice for any female who is considering studying engineering? So I might start with India.
Okay. So my advice would be don't listen to the haters, because there's a lot of them everywhere, and sometimes the haters people that you think are, gonna be your supporters, and that like it hurts. But if you really want to do it, like don't listen to what anyone else will say and just go for it. Do what you think is best for you.
Nikki?
Echoing off of that, I would say don't take advice from someone you don't respect. Early on in my career, I had a lot of sexist white men telling me what I couldn't and can do, and I think that really affected who I was and what I thought my potential could be. And then I realized, like, those dudes are actually losers. Like, they suck. They're going nowhere in life, and like I have so much more potential. So definitely drown out the noise and then keep your eye on the prize.
Really good advice. Yeah, I really agree with both of them.
I love them. I love it. Okay, well, I actually do have a question. If you had to go back to the like worst part of like engineering school or like your life, what will you tell yourself? And that's for everybody.
So mine was actually last year. So sort of following on from what Nikki was saying, I was in a secondment and I had a manager who constantly belittled me and undermined me, made really bad comments to me that ruined my self-esteem. So I was a contractor, and so I was on like an hourly rate, and I would get comments made like, you're too expensive. You're too expensive for, like, your rate is too high for what you are, and stuff like that. But I was actually on a salary through another company, so I wasn't even seeing 50% of what that rate was, and that doesn't even matter. You should never make comments like that. And I remember I would also like ask questions, and anytime I would ask a question, like one time I asked a question about a batter, and the response was, well, don't you know how to build a batter? And it was a bit like, well, why would I be asking the question if I knew the answer? And so I think if I could go back in time, I would say to myself, he has issues. Yeah. This is not about you. This is about him and his insecurities. I think I always took it as an attack, and I would always find myself, crying in a bathroom about it. And it wasn't until this year where I'm in a different secondment and I have a female manager, and she is the most incredible person I have ever met. She inspires me so much. She's also an engineer, and she makes me feel really empowered to do my job. And so now that I'm in sort of a much better headspace and I look back, I think, when someone's being nasty to you, the issue is theirs, not yours. They might be jealous of you, or they might be insecure, and they're sort of projecting that on you. Don't take it to heart. I wish I had picked him up on it as well. I think I sort of accepted it for a lot of the time, and I sort of thought, well, maybe I am not very smart, and maybe I'm not worth this rate. When that's not the truth, because my current manager constantly tells me how good I am and makes me feel so empowered to do my job. So that's what I would sort of go back and say to myself.
And you're better at it because they empower you. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to deal with that. So who wants to go next?
I can go. Mine is kind of related. So I would tell myself to surround yourself with people that uplift you and empower you, really. So I guess mine is like kind of recently too, that I realized a lot of people that I was surrounded by weren't really feeding me. If anything, they were draining me. And like I was the friend that everyone went to for help all the time, and like whenever I needed help, no one was there to help me. So at that point, I realized that I really needed to surround myself with people that were like-minded, and were passionate about things that I was also passionate about, but would also support me in times that I needed support. Because at some point in your life, you will need support, no matter how strong or independent or whatever you are. So I think I would definitely tell myself, yeah, you need better friends. in one sentence.
Or better management, right?
Yeah, that too.
Nikki.
So I face both things that Luisa and Ndea face, which is crazy because I feel like more women should have conversations about this so we feel less alone, isolated. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to talk about having a growth mindset. So oftentimes in my career, like I would be asked to be in certain projects, but I was always told, you don't have the experience in this domain, you don't have the degree, you don't have the MBA. But honestly, all of that is really bullshit. I feel like in corporate America, everyone's just kind of BSing their way through it. Like nobody really knows what exactly is going on, right? It's really just faking it until you make it. So if someone's not giving you that opportunity, even when you display a growth mindset, consider, other options like changing teams, changing projects. And if that doesn't even happen, change the role in the company right away, because if you stay in that particular company for like a long period of time, it's really going to stunt your growth. And it might even take an effect on your self-esteem too. So if you see those red flags, like move right away, and always embody a growth mindset, because that shows people that you're willing to learn and take on new challenges.
That actually is what Sheryl Sandberg talks about in her Leaning book about like the jungle gym, where you like go to the other one to go up now, instead of staying in the same like linear growth within your same company. That's one. And that's true. Because sometimes like corporate America is asking for like a 7-year experience to an intern, and good luck with that, right? So thank you so much, ladies. I will leave the last words for Luisa, and I cannot wait to have a one-on-one with you while we take over Engineering Means Guy's account again. But yes, so thank you so much for being available, and Lisa, for everything that you do. So I'll leave you with the last words.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Nikki and Ndea, and also Sandra and Eduardo and Lillian and everyone who's been involved in making this live possible. So I guess something I really appreciate is companies like Papaya Tutor and, accounts like Engineering Memes Guy, who create space for women in STEM to share their story and their voice. Sort of like what Nikki was saying, all three of us, or all four of us, can relate to everything we've said, particularly, the negative experiences. And I think when you start to share that, you start to realize, okay, it's not just me. Maybe the issue is a certain gender having an issue with females succeeding in this industry. And so I think, by banding together, we start to realize, like, no, I deserve to be here. I have the skills to be here, and I'm going to use my voice to be heard. And so, I'm just really thankful for Papaya and Engineering Memes Guy and STEMedia and Lumis and everyone who supported this to let us come on here and share our stories today and inspire some other women to pursue a career in STEM and particularly in engineering.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Much.
See ya.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.